it comes to practicing a sustainable lifestyle to ease the strain on our overexploited planet, a major aspect to consider is being more mindful of the way we grow, catch, and consume food. Sustainable farmers and retailers like DownToEarth are helping raise awareness on that and making mindful food consumption more accessible by providing produce that's good for our health and our environment. They remind us of the connection between mindful food choices and a healthy and sustainable ecosystem, making us more conscious of what we buy and consume. On Profiles, we mark Earth Day with farmer entrepreneur Nicolo Aberasturi, who's cultivating the earth conscientiously through sustainable agriculture. Nicolo brings his passion for traditional small and local farming that upholds sustainable agriculture, environmental stewardship, the well-being of farmers, and the humane treatment of animals to the urban jungle of Manila through DownToEarth. Their produce are grown in the foothills of Mount Kitanglad, Bukidnon. The animals are raised in pasture by small family farms across Mindanao. Nicolo is an advocate of urban farming, on a mission to get city folks to participate in it through workshops on the basics of urban kitchen gardening and transforming household waste into compost. His sustainable farming philosophy is changing the way we see our food and how it's produced.
We are a grower and we also are a retailer of produce coming from old heirloom and heritage breeds. This would be an example. That was corn that used to be grown before commercial agriculture.
DownToEarth promotes local products and produce.
Here you have different kinds of teas using a lot of the herbal remedies of Bukidnon.
You also have a lot of bottles. Tell us about all of these.
Yeah, when we grow something and we have a bumper harvest, we pickle a lot. Over here, you can get raw fermented food.
Yes.
So you have jams there using our hibiscus. We grow different kinds of chilies, so we can have a habanero chili hibiscus jam. We're always testing new things.
Yeah. DownToEarth also offers fresh seasonal vegetables.
Here you see some edible flowers. And then our carrots that we grow are baby because they're crunchier and sweeter and it looks nice on the plate. And then over here, you have some root crops and purple corn.
DownToEarth's meat products come from local indigenous breeds of livestock.
These are the breeds that have been growing in the Philippines, eating local food for hundreds of years. We try to promote grass-fed beef, local beef. It has the genetic qualities that fits our climate and the flavors that come out from the grass come out in the meat. Most people don't know that 50% of our poultry requirements in the Philippines is supplied by native chickens.
At DownToEarth, you're guaranteed fresh, healthy produce from farm to table or straight to the consumer. Nicolo believes it's important that we know where our food comes from, how it's grown, and how it reaches you, so we know what we're taking in. It's a philosophy he learned early on in life, growing up in a farming family.
My father decided to move to Bukidnon because he grew up in Leyte. They always get very strong typhoons there. So he moved, and he started growing coffee there.
He knew for sure he would make a career out of farming when their family farm began to grow more crops in the early 90s, supplying a small clientele in Cagayan de Oro.
We started working in the local market and then we started pushing some items in cities close by like Iligan, Butuan, and then eventually got into Cebu.
Nicolo eventually moved to Manila to expand their clientele and business prospects, which opened up a lot of opportunities for the farm. He found it exciting to be working with restaurants as chefs asked for new produce.
Most of them wanted us to grow stuff that they could not buy locally. It started with those specialty lettuces, like the ones with the flavor, with the crunchiness that they want. And then eventually it got into baby vegetables, and then microgreens, and then edible flowers, and then it just kept going on and on and on.
But tragedy struck in 2011 when Tropical Storm Sendong hit Cagayan de Oro, claiming thousands of lives, causing widespread damage to infrastructure and farmland. This forced Nicolo's family to close down their farm and operations in Cagayan de Oro and move elsewhere. This blow to their business brought many realizations.
Food prices went up like 100%. It made us look at growing for our own consumption in the farm and also, as in here. It got me scared because at the time I was living in Makati.
Nicolo and his family moved further south to Santa Rosa, where they had space to begin a backyard farm, something Nicolo always wanted to do.
We were able to produce about 2 tons of food. We were producing our own eggs. We tried to design that backyard farm in a way wherein it can run off the grid. It was practically running on yard clippings and food waste.
How did that lead you to put up this place? It's down to earth.
We are part of a community, and when Ondoy happened, we were getting a lot of our produce from that community farms.
Yeah.
And a lot of them got hit with Ondoy as well.
Yeah.
So they asked us, can you produce these other things? That's how DownToEarth started. Farming in the Philippines is getting more and more difficult with change of climate, with challenges that happens all the time in food supply. We started doing these workshops.
Nicolo holds urban farming and gardening workshops that apply the principles of biodynamics, a holistic, ecological, and ethical approach to farming, gardening, food, and nutrition. Biodynamic farming, which considers the interconnectedness of the soil, the plants, animals, and the earth as a living system, focuses on developing and maintaining healthy soil through the use of manure, crop rotation, cover cropping, and special preparations.
When you farm, you're actually building the soil, which is something that commercial farming has really destroyed, and building its nutritional value, and of course creating a product that is higher in nutritional value.
Yeah. So it's good economically, environmentally, and for our health.
Yes, exactly. This is your chance to be able to participate in solving a global problem in your small way, in your homes.
The secret's in the sauce, they say, but when it comes to farming or gardening, it's in the compost. Nicolo will show us how to make nutrient-rich compost through kitchen and household waste.
First, we show you a very basic way of making your own compost at home. It's a balance of carbon material and nitrogen material. When you make proper compost in small spaces, like a condominium or an apartment, there's a ratio of brown material and green material. So brown material is your carbon source, and your green material is your nitrogen source. So since you're dealing with trash, garbage, eventually it's gonna start to smell. So it's the carbon material and the microbes that's gonna control the smell. Only vegetable, fruit scraps, some cooked rice, maybe a little bit of bread in there, coffee grounds. We have to stay away from cooked meat, fish, dairy, because to be able to compost those items, you need to compost them with very high temperatures.
So that's for outdoors, for a garden.
We can do that if you have a small outdoor garden. So we start with a brown material. So this is brown paper bags that we get from a grocery store.
Yeah.
Brown cardboard. And we put about 2 inches of this. Avoid waxy paper and glossy white paper. Even like newspaper you can use in the bin like this.
Brown.
So we're gonna put about 2 inches. So that's gonna absorb the excess moisture when the vegetable waste start to decay. Okay, and then we're gonna put a layer of vegetable waste. And then we put a little bit of our compost activator. So all the microbes that you need to break down vegetable waste is already here. This also helps control the odor. Just put a thin layer, and then you go and put a little paper again. And then you just do it over and over again. Now on the 3rd day, the vegetables and fruit waste will start to rot.
So you have to cover it.
Yeah, of course. Okay, on the container, you have holes with screen. So when it's starting to rot, you won't attract insects in there. They won't be able to go inside. If it starts to smell, you just add paper and more activator. It should not smell. That's your guide that you're doing it properly. It might generate some liquid tea, which is also very good for the plants. And you can easily drain it with a faucet. In like 2 to 3 weeks, it will start to look like this. That material you can already put in your plants, or you can feed it to your worms. This is a worm bin. After 2 or 3 weeks of composting in that bucket, you can now feed it to your worms. Worms eat the bacteria in the material. This one will work very well once you start to do sprouting. But if you just want to use compost for big plants, straight from the compost bucket, you can put it straight to your plants.
After teaching me the basics of composting, Nicolo showed me the proper way to plant seeds.
What we have here is a simple grow kit that we have in the store. This one is red okra. So you have compost here, and then you have here the seeds. So you put the soil, and then of course you gotta moisten it. Dechlorinated water, okay?
Okay.
Then you poke a hole, and then you take your seeds, one seed
Per carton.
per carton. You're gonna cover it to create a greenhouse environment so it keeps the moisture and humidity that's perfect for the seed to sprout. So this is how it would look after like 2 weeks. You'll start to have like 2 main leaves. Then all you gotta do is just tear.
You tear the little compartment.
Remember, this is recycled egg carton. The roots, by this time, have already attached themselves to the cardboard. You can dig a small hole.
Okay.
Yeah. And press, no air.
Yeah. Just cover it.
Cover. The cardboard will just decompose.
You just leave it there.
Again,
Water.
moist. Voila. There you go.
Nicolo certainly makes starting your own urban garden look easy. Here's a vertical garden, a compact system that DownToEarth is helping various communities set up to jumpstart their urban farms.
This can work with a big kitchen because it can take more food waste.
Okay.
And at the same time, the beauty with this one, the worms need less management because they have more space where they can operate. So when you're composting from the bin,
Yeah.
you feed it here. You have about 50 grow cells and one on top. So you feed them here, you feed the system here,
Yeah.
and then the worms feed the plant. Because it's a big container,
Yeah.
it holds a lot of moisture. It takes a while before it dries up because worms cannot operate in an environment that's too dry.
Yeah.
All the excess water that goes down here, you
Okay.
can reuse.
It's like a
and
tea.
it becomes like a very rich compost tea. This is like a vermi tea. And you can
Just sprinkle it.
water the plants, and when you're watering it, you go around like this evenly, yeah. So the water goes down and it waters all the plants.
And when you're watering, you can't just get your tap water.
If you're in an urban area, you have to use tap water.
Yeah.
Worms cannot take chlorinated water, so you have to dechlorinate the water before you use it. You just need a bucket.
Yeah.
And you put your water there and let it sit there overnight, and then maybe you stir once or twice.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you can use that water the next day.
Nicolo is confident that anyone can farm indoors or in small spaces if you do it right. DownToEarth offers workshops monthly to teach the basics of starting your own urban kitchen garden.
This is your chance to be able to participate in solving a global problem in your small way, in your homes. The latest stats say that in the Philippines, 70% of our waste is biodegradable waste. And all of that ends up in the landfill. That landfill waste creates a lot of methane gas.
It's carbon emit. Yeah,
Yes,
carbon emissions.
and then puts more stress in an environment that's already way beyond boundaries.
Yeah.
You know, we encourage everyone to compost, be part of the solution.
This young doctor joined Nicolo's workshop last year and is extremely happy about her urban gardening.
It actually pushed me and my family to start composting at home. Going to his class gave me confidence actually to just do it. Like, do it now, do it at home, just try it in a small bucket. And we got it done. And we've been composting for the past few months. And the compost that we generate from our food waste, we now use it as soil for our plants. And we're now growing some small vegetables like tomatoes, chili, okra, little things. But it's a start.
We have here what we call our garden salad. This is parsley. We have sunflower sprouts. You get snapdragon flowers here. These are arugula flowers.
Nicolo takes pride in providing fresh, rich, vibrant, and flavorful products that nourish the body, soul, and spirit. He encourages us to practice sustainability in the way we eat, choosing local and what's in season to help ease the burden on the planet. A down-to-earth dining experience shows just how easy and delicious it is.
One of our specialties is our grass-fed beef, and it's coming from local animals that have grazed Philippine grasses for many, many years.
And for vegetarians, you do have the vegan version.
Absolutely.
What's that made of?
Okay. We grow a lot of seasonal vegetables. One of that is wild rocket. It's the old heirloom Italian arugula that we've acclimatized in the Philippines already.
Okay, this is called the Impossible Burger.
Yes.
You'll never guess. And of course, the starry. I think they're just so beautiful, your vegetables.
We have here what we call our garden salad. So I'm just gonna pick some items that you might think that are weeds, but actually they're very, very rich and nutritious, and we can just find it everywhere. This is purslane. This leaf here, which is considered a weed in the Philippines, has the highest omega-3 content in all leafy greens. We have sunflower sprouts. You get snapdragon flowers here. These are arugula flowers. They also taste like mild arugula. And then here we have these micro cucumbers. You have our heirloom cherry tomato. And this is what we call a kalasanon. It's pretty unique to Bukidnon. Kalasan means wild in the Luma dialect.
Yeah.
This nice looking one is a radish. It's called the watermelon radish. You have wild arugula, of course. Here you got baby carrots, pink sorrel. This flower here tastes a little bit like kamias. And then here you got amaranth flowers. You're very lucky today because this just arrived.
Wow.
They're very difficult to grow whole year round. So what you have here are heirloom tomatoes. These are black tomatoes that originated from Russia with a little bit of olive oil, some Himalayan salt, a little bit of rocket, and then we put in purple basil.
And now for a taste.
This is a sapinit dressing, which is wild raspberry. We have another name for wild raspberry in Bukidnon. They call it karigyawat. We make that dressing with a little olive oil, and we also make some using hibiscus that we grow.
Wow, this is so good, Nicolo. Sarap.
The first time that I was able to grow my own alugbati, and I got it and my husband cooked it for our sinigang. I was telling my children, guys, I worked hard for that. When you eat the food that you plant, there's a feeling of fulfillment and empowerment. Because of what Nicolo's doing, he's sharing his knowledge with the community. He's actually inspiring people to do it on their own. And he's showing them that, gosh, it's so easy to do. Why didn't I do it before?
Nicolo certainly makes it all look easy, but there are many challenges in the farming life, especially with the increasing impacts of climate change. Nicolo says farmers need to be more educated about this so they can adapt and mitigate the impacts from the forces of nature beyond their control.
Now, if you notice, we're getting less and less rain. You know, we have a water crisis now. I really got surprised last year because in our small nursery in Santa Rosa, we didn't have any rain for 4 months. I mean, can you imagine if I was a rice farmer and that happened to me? That's like one crop.
Yeah.
A lot of farmers have to deal with that.
It's a tough life for farmers, and
Yeah.
many younger generations choose to do something else. Is there a future in farming?
We have to encourage more young people to go into farming. The new breed of farmers are gonna be coming from the urban areas, I believe. They don't have that thinking that to be able to farm, you need a big area.
You can do it indoors.
Yeah, you can do it, I guess.
Yeah.
That open-mindedness, that's already a window of opportunity.
Yes.
And it's happening. Maybe we just need to do more.
Nicolo's trying to do more by sharing his knowledge and sustainable farming philosophy through his workshops. The biggest sources of happiness and fulfillment for him come from growing new things and seeing the happy faces of people growing their own produce.
In a small space like this, you can easily grow 2 kilos a week.
Wow. Week.
Mainly with sprouts. A very common one is mung bean, which is tauge. We were able to produce our own eggs. Can you imagine if like 1% of the Filipinos do that? Probably won't have a poultry industry anymore. A small area can give you so much if you just do it properly and plan it properly.
Yes. Nicolo's helping more and more people do just that, setting up urban farms in schools, villages and other communities.
We're working with a relocation community. They had a garden, but they couldn't sustain it because they didn't know how to make compost. So we just taught them how to do it. When we came back after like a couple of months, we saw them growing squashes.
Nicolo is planting the seeds for a greener, brighter future. He's empowering individuals and communities by arming them with the tools to source and eat food sustainably to help build a better world. His story reminds us that if many little people in many little places do many little things, they can make a big difference and change the face of the earth.